Good morning. We'll wait just another minute to allow everyone to join in, and then we'll get started. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Education and Information and Technology Products and Related Services, RFO, DIR-CPO-TMP-588 Vendor Marketing Conference. We're glad to have you with us today. Before we get started, let's cover some housekeeping information. Just a reminder that you can change the audio by switching between the computer and the phone. We want to remind everyone that everybody is muted this morning, but if you have questions or if you have something to address with the group, please open your Q&A chat box. Put your questions in there and we'll take time to answer those today. Okay. Click the raise hand icon to change your audio levels. Submit all questions in the Q&A chat. At this time, I'll introduce the speakers and the staff. Today we have Teresa Williamson, HUD Program Manager, Tuvan Hun, Procurement Lead, Marie Cohen, Statewide Digital Accessibility Program, and Alexis Jimerson, Procurement Lead. At this time, I'll turn it over to Tuvan.
Good morning. This is Tuvan again. Here is our agenda for today. I'll give you a minute to go through, just, glance through it. And then I will, and then we'll take turn cover the section that we have now. And at the end, we will have, discussions, questions, if that's when we will go over your questions that you put on the Q&A tab. Next slides, please. This event is designed to engage with potential respondents or others that have an interest in the RFO. Certainly, DIR is sharing information. However, we are also interested in your feedback. And again, as we mentioned earlier, we would like to use the Zoom features to ask questions and seek clarification regarding the upcoming RFO scope or solicitations process. Provide feedback regarding this upcoming RFO, including current state of the education information technology market or other aspects. Make sure to enter your suggestions, idea, as well as questions on the Q&A tab. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. The objective of this RFO request for offering is to solicit responses from potential respondents to provide education information technology products and related services. This is a subsequent procurement to DIR-CPO-TMP-588 under the Cooperative Contracts Program. However, potential respondents should note that requirements and response instructions may not be identical. This RFO also include the products and related services that were previously awarded under DIR-CPO-TMP-588 for graphing calculators, accessories, and related services. DIR will not release a separate RFO for this product subset. Next slide, please. The goal of DIR market engagement is to inform vendors, new and old, of upcoming solicitations, to promote hub vendors networking, remove barriers, promote competitions, and reduce costs so we can have better solicitation responses. Next slide, please. Vendor versus partner. To DIR, the difference between vendor and partner are: vendor is someone who promotes or exchanges goods or services for money. Take orders is reactive or responsive, takes a narrow view, provides goods, services, and data. On the other hand, partner is someone understands the agency's business needs and works collaboratively with DIR and other vendor partners to provide best value to the state of Texas, such as listens to understand the business need, is proactive, and makes recommendations, see the whole picture, and interprets data. Next slide, please. DIR is looking for partners who understand DIR customers' needs and offer best value solutions, who offer solutions and deliver methods that meet next generation customer demands, who can deliver on what understanding through offerings to contribute to overall success. For DIR, it's customers and partner. Now I'm introduced to you, Alexis, to go over the overview, the DIR overview.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Alexis Jimerson, and I will be giving you a brief overview of our DIR service delivery. Can we advance to the next slide? So DIR service delivery is broken down into four parts: policy and planning, do-it-yourself IT, outsourced managed IT, and communications. We'll start with cooperative contracts, which is this section that this solicitation is going to be advertised under. Cooperative contracts are a do-it-yourself model or self-service model where our DIR customers can go procure hardware, software products and services, use our deliverable-based IT services contracts, utilize our staffing service contracts, and take advantage of our bulk purchase initiatives. We'll talk about a little bit more about those in a little bit. Communications. DIR is responsible for the Capitol Complex telephone system. If you work in an agency near the Capitol or call your legislator, the CCT is a product of DIR. We are also responsible for internet and network operations for the state of Texas and for all our customers who use these services. Security operations and keeping the state secure and our operations secure for customers who utilize DIR services. These are handled through our Network Security Operations Center. DIR also offers a shared technology services where we do it for you. These services are available for our customers and do require an agreement with DIR to include our data center services, the Texas.gov portal, the Open Data portal, which is a free state repository for public data, and security services, which are services available to help keep our customers' systems operating securely. Policy and planning. DIR is also responsible for the IT strategic plan for the state of Texas, and knowing what that plan is for the next year and projecting out 3 years, potentially 5 years down the road. DIR provides IT standards for the state of Texas and is a resource for our customers to help set IT standards for the state entities. And with legislative, we also report to the legislature on the state of technology for Texas. Next slide. On this slide, you'll see a listing of the eligible DIR customers. We do have a large number of out-of-state entities, including state agencies, local governments, school districts, and institutions of higher education, who through an agreement with DIR are able to purchase their IT products and services through DIR's cooperative contracts. This list shows the possible universe of DIR customers, especially for procurement opportunities. However, not every program, area, or function serves all these organizations. As we explore different DIR functions, we will indicate relevant customer base as we go along. Next slide. This slide goes over some of the benefits of the cooperative contracts. Cooperative contracts create savings. They streamline purchasing processes and provide benefits for vendors. It simplifies the sales process for the vendors as well as for our customers. This also showcases the buying power of the state of Texas. Just as a reminder, for cooperative contracts, the purchasing process is that customers issue purchase orders directly to the vendor with a DIR contract noted. We've done the heavy lifting and negotiated the contracts and put them in place for our customers. For vendor benefit, vendors are required to report to DIR once a month for their sales, who they sold to, what they sold, and at what discount and price, and if any resellers or subcontractors were used. Next slide. This slide covers the sales for the DIR cooperative contracts for fiscal year 2023. This is an approximate number, but this showcases the buying power that comes with being an awarded DIR contractor, or I'm sorry, being an awarded DIR contract holder. State agencies make up the largest percentage of sales, followed by local government, then education, and higher ed. The remainder of assistance organizations and out-of-state customers. Another interesting note is that approximately 32% of this amount shown on the screen was spent with DIR or hub vendors and hub resellers. Next slide. We'll turn it back over to Tuvan. She will go over the cooperative contract solicitation process.
Next slide, please. So we have 3 phases in the solicitation process. Next slide, please. The planning phase. This is an opportunity for DIR to engage incumbent and potential respondents through market engagement notices and other pre-proposal events, or for incumbent and potential respondents to understand corporate contracts program, DIR's visions for the next generation of education information technology contracts. Opportunity for DIR to engage with potential respondents and discuss the upcoming solicitation scope requirements. Next slide, please. Provides lead time to determine lessons learned and improvement opportunities. Ensure good standing with state of Texas. Engage with hub partners. Next slide, please. During the solicitations process, DIR posts solicitation to Electronic State Business Daily, ESBD. Solicitations includes background requirements, response instructions, high-level evaluation criteria, key dates associated with the procurement, potential contract documents, etc. DIR entertains the vendor questions during a designated period through a rolling question and answer process. If something is not clear, ask for clarity. DIR may post addendums to the solicitation. Be sure to monitor ESBD for updates. Next slide, please. DIR will establish designated points of contact, avoid any attempts to contact agency personnel not listed as points of contact for the solicitations. Doing so could lead to disqualification. Address all response instructions. Negligent to comply may cost you points, but could also lead to disqualification or hinder further consideration of your response. Review response and review it again. Don't submit an incomplete response. Make sure it's a comprehensive packet. Acknowledge all addenda posted. Make sure someone with authority to bind respondent signs it. I will be the points of contact for this RFO. And with all of that's been said, ask questions. Check the ESBD regularly for any addenda or updates. Take advantage of the hub review prior to submittal. Don't wait until the last minute to hit submit or drop off materials. Ensure that all required materials are included in your response. Document any and all assumptions. Include all proposed materials that customer may need to sign. Price anything that is solutioned. Options that are not priced may be clearly indicated in your response. Propose real people, real plans, offerings that you actually have. Ensure that legal and business work together on exceptions. Do a final read of your document prior to submittal. During the evaluations, negotiations, and award process, we ask that you be patient as we evaluate responses and prepare for next steps of the process. Be sure to comply with agency interaction policy. Avoid contacting DIR personnel beyond those identified in the solicitation. DIR may conduct vendor discussions to clarify DIR requirements and/or responses. DIR will notify respondents once evaluations are completed and DIR has identified the apparent awardees to indicate whether they are invited to negotiations or not. Next slide, please. DIR considers any new information obtained orally or in writing throughout the process. Excessive exceptions to DIR standard terms and conditions may result in delayed negotiations and or no longer being considered for potential award. Lack of response to DIR inquiries may result in cease to negotiation actions. Now I'm turning over to Marie Coleman to go over the digital accessibility requirements.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Marie Cohan. I am the statewide Digital Accessibility Program Administrator, and I'll be reviewing the digital accessibility requirements in your solicitation response. Next slide, please. So digital accessibility, what is that? We want to make sure that state of Texas technology is accessible for all people. We do not want to have any barriers to accessing the content on our websites or the technology that we use. This is related to all electronic and information resources, information and communications technology. This is also covered in Texas Government Code Chapter 2054, Subchapter M. State agencies and institutions of higher education are required to follow Texas Government Code for this, and also TAC 206 for websites and TAC 213 for electronic and information resources. The state of Texas also follows the World Wide Web Consortium WCAG 2.0 AA. I will mention that our agencies and institutions of higher education can adopt a higher standard, but the minimum baseline is WCAG 2.0 AA. For accessibility compliance. We do require that vendors provide proof of accessibility for their technology and their technology services. Next slide, please. So the documentation that constitutes proof of accessibility is a vendor accessibility development services information request for development services and accessibility conformance report for products, so SaaS applications, PaaS applications, etc. And then we also require that all vendors submit a policy-driven adoption for accessibility self-assessment. The self-assessment, I'll go into more detail next, is not tied to your product offering or your service offering. This is strictly a self-assessment of the responding vendor's organization. Next slide, please. The policy-driven adoption for accessibility, again, is a vendor self-assessment. The self-assessment is an Excel spreadsheet in your packet, and this will ask questions on how your organization adopts accessibility and where you are on the accessibility maturity journey. So questions may include, what type of training does your staff have regarding digital accessibility? Do you include accessibility into major business functions like IT services, HR services, etc., within your organization? Do you have defined policies in place? Are they documented, etc.? So what this assessment does is it provides a score that helps us understand where your organization is with regard to accessibility maturity. This is a required document. If it is missing or incomplete, it will result in a disqualification. And this document is also very helpful for the vendor organization because it can be used as a roadmap to improve your accessibility journey. Next slide, please. This is an example of the PDAA maturity matrix. You can see the different components of the self-assessment, and there's 3 major stages. Are you at the initial launch stage of incorporating accessibility policies and practices within your organization? Have you integrated those policies and practices? And are you at an optimal stage where everything is documented and it's a cultural change within the organization embedded into all areas of the business and all policies and processes within the business? The PDAA is a document that has been adopted by NASCIO and it is being used across the nation. So it is a very important document. It is required in your solicitation response. Next slide, please. So the accessibility conformance report or completed VPAT is specific to product offerings. So for example, if you have an educational platform that people can access through a portal, that platform is a product and it needs to be tested for accessibility. It should be tested at the very minimum against WCAG 2.0 AA standards. Again, our customers can adopt a higher standard, so just be prepared in the event that you do business with one of our customers who is at 2.1 AA or 2.2 AA, which is the newest standard that just was released last year. You can find the VPAT, which is the template to create your accessibility conformance report. The template will be in your packet. The accessibility conformance report is created through testing your product against those WCAG standards. When a product is tested against the different success criteria in WCAG, you will document how your product conformed to the success criteria, and I'll talk about those different levels of conformance in a second. Next slide, please. So this is an example of how the VPAT is broken up. It's broken up into 4 major principles with accessibility. We want our technology to be perceivable. We want it to be operable. We want it to be understandable, and we want it to be robust. And those 4 principles will cover different types of disabilities that someone may have. Each of these different sections under the principles will have corresponding success criteria, which are basic expectations for how your product functions with regard to that particular standard. So this is an example of the VPAT. When you go through and test your product against these different standards and success criteria, you will complete the VPAT and it will become an accessibility conformance report. And that is what should be submitted for every product listed on your pricing sheet in your solicitation response. Next slide, please. So when we talk about product conformance, when a product is tested, it will fully support a success criteria. It may support but have some exceptions. It may not support at all. That particular success criteria may not be applicable to the function of your product, or it may be something that was not evaluated for one reason or another. Typically, it's because of the level AAA. We do not expect that type of testing, at least at the state level. If you have a conformance that is anything but fully supports, we do expect you to provide an explanation of where the gap is and how that gap will impact the user. So please do not leave that section blank. If you have a partially supports or anything else, please provide an explanation in that area. Next slide, please. So vendor accessibility development services information request, I don't believe applies to this particular solicitation, but I will discuss it just in the event that something does come up on an engagement with a customer. If for any reason development services are required, this is a form that asks questions around the vendor's development lifecycle. So it asks questions around training for developers, how do they do testing, how do they track defects, etc. This is specific to development services, but in the event that you're engaged with one of our customers and this is an add-on to an engagement, you will be required to provide this document. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Thank you. These are the questions that are included in the, oh, I think we went one too far. Let me go back a slide. Perfect, thank you. So these are the questions that are on the VADSR questionnaire. It is the 3rd section of the questionnaire. And again, just to review, it will ask about how accessibility is embedded into your key business processes, how your developers are trained, what kind of training do they attend. You can give examples of courses that they've taken or who they've taken the courses through. What kind of testing tools are used to verify that your product is being developed in an accessible format? What kind of corrective action plans are needed or processes? What did you use for documenting defects and tracking the resolution of those defects? what kind of alternate methods can be provided by the vendor in the event that there is a non-compliance issue or some sort of defect. And then typically it'll ask for some sort of sample of your work. My advice, if you do ever have to complete this form, is please provide as much detail as possible. Simple answers don't really provide a lot of information. So if you can provide details like the names of the courses, where the courses were taken, what kind of tools you're using, what kind of test scripts you use, etc., that will help improve your score for this particular portion of your response. Next slide, please. So DIR is offering a service to our vendors now. We provide free training on digital accessibility. The training is 4 courses that are specific to doing business in the state of Texas and procurement in the state of Texas. The courses are not long. They're 45 minutes to 60 minutes each. Again, there is no cost, and you can have your solicitation response team within your organization all take the classes. If you are interested in signing up for these classes, you can email me at statewide.accessibility@dir.texas.gov. And please always copy the procurement lead. In this case, it's to Van, on any communications that you submit to me. Next slide, please. We have additional resources on our website under the EIR accessibility section. The templates that are in your packet are also on our website. And again, if you would like to contact me for training, the email address is statewide.accessibility@dir.texas.gov. Always copy your procurement lead. And if there are any questions that you have afterwards, before the questions are posted, you can also send those questions to me. But again, always copy your procurement lead. Next slide, please. And again, this is my email address, statewide.accessibility@dir.texas.gov. I appreciate the opportunity to present to you all today, and I will hand it back over. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Teresa Williamson. I'm the Hub Program Manager here at DIR. Thank you for joining us, and let's talk about the importance of completing and signing your Hub subcontracting plan. Your Hub subcontracting plan is also known as an HSP. All vendors, Hub and non-Hub, will be required to complete and sign an HSP. Once this RFO is posted, a sample document will be included with your RFO packet, but also you can find the most current form at this link through the comptroller's office. Next slide. Again, all respondents, Hub and non-Hub, are required to submit a completed and signed HSP, and failure to complete and sign that HSP will cause your response to be rejected. This is a pass or fail item. There are 3 ways to complete your HSP. You will either meet or exceed the Hub goal and complete method A, not meet the Hub goal and complete method B, or self-perform. Now is the time for you to start that discussion internally on the method, which method is going to be best for your company to complete. Next slide. The Hub goal for this RFO is 21.1%. If your proposed subcontracting meets or exceeds the Hub goal set for this RFO, you will complete method A. Be sure to identify all Hub and non-Hub vendors that you will be subcontracting with. Please include the anticipated dollar amounts and expected percentages of contract. So when completing method A, you will complete sections 1, 2, 4, and method A. Don't forget to sign and date your HSP in the section 4. Next slide. If you're going to subcontract below the Hub goal, you'll complete method B. Method B does include a required good faith effort. Be sure to solicit a minimum of 3 hub certified companies and 2 minority trade organizations. You must allow them 7 working days to respond to you prior to the due date of this RFO. The day that you send out your correspondence is considered day 0. Include your outreach to these entities with your hub submission. So when completing method B, you'll complete sections 1, 2, 4, and method B. Don't forget those to include those approximate dollar amounts and percentages. And also, please do not wait until the last minute if you're going to be required to complete method B. This is where we see the most errors, and you can always reach out to the hub office. Next slide. Back one, please. Go back one slide, please. The third method, if you will be self-performing, you will complete sections 1, 2, 3, and 4. In your self-performing justification, you identify how your company will fulfill a contract with its own staff, equipment, and resources. Please do not say that you'll subcontract in the future or if you need to. This is just an explanation of how you plan to self-perform a contract. Go forward, please. Next slide. Next slide. This is our contact information. My contact information is listed here. Please remember that the HSP is a pass or fail document. We do provide complimentary reviews of the HSP prior to the due date. Please reach out to the hub office once this RFO is released. You can reach out to the hub office up to 10 working days prior to the due date of this RFO. Please remember that the HSP is not only a required document, but again, that it is required to be completed and signed correctly. Please take us up on that courtesy review. And as always, copy your procurement lead on any correspondence that you have with the hub office. Thank you. Next slide.
Good morning, everyone. This is Alexis Jemerson. I will be going over responding to DIR solicitations via our vendor information system, or VIS. Next slide. DIR uses an e-procurement system, and bid submittal must happen via that e-procurement system. We call that system Bid Stamp Vendor Information System, or VIS. On the screen, you will see a link to the Bid Stamp VIS portal. Please note that if you have previously created a Bid Stamp account, you can use the same account. If you have not previously created a Bid Stamp account, or your account information has changed, i.e. your email or business name, you will need to create a new account. This is not an automatic process. It's not an automatic approval. Please allow the DIR staff 2 business days or 48 business hours for your account to be approved. This means that you cannot wait until the day of response submissions to request your account. You will need to plan and make sure that you have received your login credentials prior to the due date of the RFO. If you have not received your bid stamp login credentials, please contact the point of contact listed in the RFO, which would be Tuvan, the procurement lead. The link on this slide will take you to a video to set up your bid stamp account, so we will not go over that today. These slides will be made available and posted to the ESBD for your reference. Next slide. Persons with disabilities who seek accommodation under the Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA, in responding to the solicitation may contact the DIR solicitation point of contact, who is Tuvan. Please allow at least 5 business days for a response. As a gentle reminder, please, if you need accommodations, please ensure that you do request those accommodations as early as possible, because it does take us a bit of time to respond for ADA accommodations. Next slide. Once you have created an account and it has been enabled and you receive your login credentials, you can submit and manage RFO responses from your Bidstamp VIS portal. On the screen is a screenshot of the login screen. This portal allows up to 5 users. You must use the login credentials that you received after you set up your Bidstamp account in order to log in. Next slide. Once you have logged into the Bidstamp portal, this is the screen that you will be presented with. You can select open solicitations and it will pop up the solicitations that are open for responses. In order to submit your response, you have to click on open solicitations. Next slide. Creating a new response. To create a new response, you will log into the VIS portal and select the open solicitations tile. You will click on the RFO number. For this solicitation, it will be DIR-CPO-TMP-588. You will navigate to the RFO number detail page. This page will show you all of the RFOs that are open to receive responses once you navigate into it. Next slide. Okay. This page the RFO number detail page will display the important deadlines for the solicitation and list any questions the vendor has submitted. Please pay attention to the date and time that responses are due. All times are Central Standard Time. Please allow yourself enough time for technical issues. Once the date and time have passed, Bidstamp will no longer allow you to submit your response. Even if you are in the middle of submitting the response, please plan accordingly. A helpful tip for everyone: please do not wait until the day of submission to submit your response. DIR is not responsible for technical difficulties if you cannot get into the system. Please do this as early as possible. Next slide. RFO detail. So the RFO detail button description. To respond to the solicitation, create a new response or view a response that is in progress. If a response has already been created or started, this button will display as view response and allow you to resume your progress on an existing RFO response. If you click the Ask a Question button, this is the button that will allow you to submit a question up until the question submission deadline. Questions submitted via VIS will be posted with a written answer response on the ESBD. If you click on the subscribe solicitation button, this will allow you to receive addendum notifications via the VIS system. The view solicitation documents, this will navigate you to the ESBD posting for the solicitation and allow you to view the solicitation documents. The ESBD is the official location for all response materials for the RFO. Please check the ESBD for addendums to the RFO posting throughout the solicitation process. A question that we get a lot, or a comment that we get a lot, is I logged into the Bitstamp portal and I cannot access the solicitation documents. The solicitation documents are not contained in the portal. They are on the ESBD. You must navigate to the ESBD and download your solicitation documents in order to get, in order to formulate your response. Next slide. The RFO response page buttons. Clicking on delete will delete all information that has been uploaded in the response record before the response has been submitted. Once the response has been submitted, the vendor must use the withdraw button that will appear upon solicitation submission. Submit. The submit button submits the response for record and all associated information. Once you hit submit, the system will date and timestamp your submission. It is highly recommended that you name the required response documents exactly the same as they are named in the RFO, so you do not miss loading a required document. It is strongly recommended that you load the documents in the format that they were provided as exhibits in the RFO. Many times converting a document to a PDF will truncate the document, leaving off important information that is needed for the response document to be considered complete. In addition, if you are using electronic signature function, please ensure that there is a valid electronic signature and not just a typed name in the signature field. If you are not able to include a valid verified electronic signature on pages where signature is required, please print that page, ink sign, and upload a copy to the Bitstamp portal. Creating a pricing form. Create a pricing form to submit pricing for your response. Upload required files indicated in the RFO posted on the ESBD. Vendor references. Vendor references will be submitted by the reference to the email address listed in the RFO. Please do not upload your vendor references to the Bitstamp portal. Those are to be submitted by the vendor, by the reference to the email address that is listed in the RFO, or that will be listed in the RFO. Next slide. That concludes the VIS portion of this webinar. Tuvan will take over and give some general information for the vendors.
While we're waiting for the release of this RFO, I would encourage you to explore our website to learn more about DIR, familiarize with where you go to get more information, to learn more about the Bitstamp login. If you have any issues or something like that, you still have time to communicate with us how to get help, to get assistance on how to navigate our website. And again, I do not, I encourage you to do this in advance, because once the the release of the solicitation, that's when we will start having a lot of questions, and we might not get to you right away to assist you with your inquiries. On the DIR website, most of the information you will need is under the Selling Through DIR link, located on the right of the page, what you're seeing right now. Once you click on that link, you will be taken to to that page. Next, please. You will, once you sailing through DIR, it will take you to this page is where you will learn more about our schedule of solicitations opportunities. From this link, it will take you to all the solicitations, plannings, posting the movement and updates of all the RFOs that we have. Whatever that we have is out there is going to be on this page. So I would recommend you go to this page and just go through it and, you know, learn more about what we have to offer. Next page, please. So when you're ready, as Alexis mentioned earlier, once you're ready to post, to respond to your RFO, we provide you with a link earlier, and we also provide you with this link where you can download the vendor Bitstamp guide. Is posted on this page for your assistant. I would recommend you just download it and then just save it and then go through it. It's ready for you to use. Next, please. Lesson learned. The top 5 reasons evaluations and contract negotiations are delayed or terminated is incomplete responses, missing pricing form, incomplete hub plan, missing or incomplete the VPAD or the VDAA, excessive or material exceptions to DIR standard terms and condition. Vendor information on response are not matching what is in the dump and the brass street. Next, please. Here are some helpful resources. Resources that you can use to get your information, like Texas Open Portal. The vendors are encouraged to regularly check the SPD, or this and schedule of solicitation opportunity under the information for vendors page. For more information on how to do business with state of Texas, please visit the controller webpage. Next page, please. And again, I will be their point of contact for this RFO. And again, my name is Tuvan. For Bitstamp assistant, please contact Alexis Jemison. And for inquiry on Hub, please contact DIR Hub or Teresa. Next, please. So what's next? Next, please. Next is the release of the RFO. It's expected it's scheduled March 4th, 2024. The RFO solicitation conference approximately 1 to 2 weeks following the RFO release. RFO posting time approximately 8 weeks. DIR may consider additional time if it's deemed necessary. Responses must be submitted as specified in RFO by due date. Adhere to points of contact in RFO once it is posted. Until then, interested party may contact the individuals listed on the prior slide for questions regarding the RFO, Bitstamp, or Hub related matters. Next slide, please.
At this time, we'll read the questions that's in the question and answer section. The first one come from Taz. Good morning. Will this presentation be recorded and dispensed to us?
Good morning. The presentation is recorded, and a link to the webinar along with the written response to the questions presented here today will be posted to the ESBD in the same place where you viewed the pre-solicitation notice.
Okay, the next question was Ron Levi. Slides not advancing still on introduction speakers and staff. Sorry for that technical difficulties, Ron. The next question comes from Andy. Who are the end users of the IT product? Are they K-12 staff, parents, and students?
The end users for the IT product are all the eligible DIR customers that were presented earlier in the webinar. These types of contracts are used as a master contract. And so we are trying to put into place master contracts and do not have individual customers right now at this time.
The next question comes from Andy. Is there a process we should follow to enter into contract into DIR?
Yes, so the process that you have to follow was outlined earlier in the webinar. There will also be RFO instructions listed in the RFO document once it's released on the ESBD.
Thank you. Next question, Andy, do we have any evaluation criteria for the vendors and partners?
The evaluation criteria will be listed in the RFO when it's released on the ESBD.
Thank you. The next question comes from Saeed. What is the qualifying PDAA score to win a bid?
Do you want me to answer that one, Alexis?
Yes, ma'am.
So there is no winning score on a PDAA assessment. If the PDAA is missing or 0, that will potentially disqualify your response. Any score over 1 will be evaluated on a 3-tiered scale of low, medium, high. So what I encourage vendors to do is they're reviewing those questions to really think about any policies or practices that they have in place that can relate to digital accessibility and score accordingly so that you at least get something over a 1. Anything below 1, like I said, will potentially disqualify your response, but there is no winning score.
Thank you. Amir's question, we are a newly hub certified vendor. Is there any form for us to fill out and register for subcontracting opportunities?
Teresa, do you want to answer that one or you want us to take it?
Either way, but I can help. There's not a list or a registration for those opportunities. You want to attend this. Your first step is attending this marketing engagement. Your next step is also going to be making sure that you're in attendance to that pre-solicitation so that you can see who is also participating to be able to reach out to those vendors to see if they have some kind of subcontracting opportunity that you would be able to provide for them. But this is step 1, marketing, and then the pre-solicitation.
Thank you. The next question comes from Ray. Hello, are we able to get a link to this recording? Thanks.
Yes, a link to this recording will be posted on the ESBD along with the written answers to these questions.
Okay. And the next question comes from Luis Vincent. Will these slides be available to us for reference after this meeting?
Yes, the slides will also be posted to the ESBD along with the questions and answers from this meeting.
Okay, thank you. The next question comes from Mila. This RFO has many products, solutions, and services. Do we need to be able to respond to all of it, or can we respond to components that we have expertise in, or do you want us to partner with others?
DIR, go ahead,
Go
Tuvain.
ahead. This is a master contract, so you have an opportunity to partner with other with other vendor. So I would yes, you can respond what you offer.
Okay, thank you. Cynthia, can you please send the slides to us? And she included her email.
We will not send out the slides to individuals. However, they will be posted on the ESBD, and you can go there and download them for your reference and review.
Thank you. The next question comes from Lito. Hub certified org need to submit a subcontracting plan?
Yes, all vendors are required to submit a HSP. The HSP is required whether you are a certified hub or not.
The next question comes from Harry. How do we know if our bid was rejected or delayed? Would the vendor get an email?
You will know if your submission was submitted because the bid stamp portal will tell you it's submitted and give you a date and time stamp that it was submitted. If you're asking how will you know if you've moved on to the next phase in the solicitation process, someone will contact you directly.
Thank you. The next question comes from Lido. When the hub certified org uses non-hub org has subcontractors, do we need to submit a separate hub subcontracting plan?
No, all the information is going to be listed on your one hub subcontracting plan.
Thank you. Next question comes from Nancy. We already have a DIR contract for products and services. Can you please explain how this one will be different?
This is we have different RFOs that we solicit, and this particular one is for education IT. The product and services is geared toward education IT, and I would recommend, I would encourage you to wait until we have the release of the RFO, and all products, services, solutions is gonna be listed on the RFO, but this is for education IT.
Tuvain, I'm just going to add to your answer real quick. If you are an existing vendor for under the education IT cooperative contracts, meaning you're an awarded vendor now, you must respond to the solicitation, because once those contracts expire, if you do not respond to this solicitation, you will not have the opportunity to be a contract holder for education IT afterwards.
Thank you. The next questions come from Sweeta. I am new to DIR and state opportunities. How do I navigate through this, and what are many challenges to get the contract?
The solicitation will be open to the public, so all vendors are encouraged to respond if they offer the products and services. The RFO, once it's posted, will have the instructions and more information about how to respond.
Next question for Andy. Please confirm whether vendors can be outside the U.S. or this is limited to USA?
We will answer that question in written format and post it to the ESBD.
Thank you. Erica's question, will public safety DAS be included?
The RFO is still in the development stage, so we encourage you guys, once it's posted, to go review it and see what products and services we're asking for.
Thank you. Tan's question, can we expect a matchmaking between primes and subs for this one?
DIR does not provide that service. Once we will post a attendee list of the vendors that registered for this conference, along with when we do the pre-solicitation conference, there will be an attendee list for that posted to the ESBD. You are welcome to use that to network. Also, the CMBL has a list of hub vendors, and you are encouraged to go to their website as well to look for your hub vendors.
Thank you. Next question comes from Sweeta. And should I be hub, women, and minority certified?
The solicitation is open to the public. You are not required to be a certified hub to respond.
And next question comes from Andy. Hope the RFO will contain all the formats to respond.
The RFO will contain response instructions and expectations for response documents.
Next question comes from Charlie. I see in this requirements to be eligible for award, a respondent must be registered and maintain an active registration status with the Texas Secretary of State, and its franchise tax account status must be in good standing. If we are not currently registered, do we need to register prior to submitting, or can we wait to register if we are awarded?
We will answer that in written format and post it to the ESBD.
Thank you. Next question comes from Mr. Martinez. Is there any preset number of vendors to be awarded? If so, how many? And if it is based on categories, offerings, or commodity code?
DIR expects to award the amount of contracts that meets the needs of our customer base. We do not have a set cap or cutoff.
Next question comes from Gilbert. For DIR sector, suppose there is an RFI given. Can you restate if these projects require the final products to already exist?
We will answer that in written format and post it to the ESBD.
Thank you. The next question comes from Maxwell. Is Text Ramp certificate required? How do I get certified?
Marie, can you take that one?
On the text ramp certification?
Yes, ma'am.
Ooh, that's not really my area of expertise. Is this one that we can respond in writing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Next question comes from Maxwell. How can we connect with other vendors for subcontracting?
As we stated earlier, we will provide a list of the attendees for this, as well as the upcoming pre-solicitation conference. Also, the CPA has the comptroller has a link or a website that lists hub and non-hub vendors, and we suggest that you start there. There will also be a link in the RFO once it's posted to help vendors network for subcontracting opportunities.
Next question. Is there a draft PWS for pre-bid DIR-CPO-TMP-588? Where could we find it?
The RFO is in development stage. We do not post drafts. Once the solicitation is finalized, it will be posted on the ESBD for your review.
Next question from Mohsen. How do we find out if the solution in any particular technology or cloud is acceptable, such as Azure or AWS or Salesforce?
That criteria will be outlined in the RFO under the scope for the products and services.
Next question. Is there a minimum copy size and tenure required for a startup to work on this project, contract / DIY project?
The experience and company history requirements will be posted in the RFO. As long as you meet those requirements, you are eligible to respond.
Next question. Are references and past performance with education institutions required for this solicitation?
That criteria will be posted in the RFO once it's released.
Next question. I want to thank you guys for answering all these questions. Okay. Thank you.
Y'all are very welcome.
Next question. Do we need to have a DIR contract in place to submit for any DIR RFP?
You do not have to be an existing DIR contract holder to respond to an open solicitation. The solicitation will be open to the public, and so it is open for qualified vendors to respond.
Thank you. Next question. We are a U.S. company, but can offer offshore resources for technology services. Is this acceptable under this cooperative contract?
We will provide a written response to this question and post it to the ESBD.
Next question. Once one DIR contract is awarded to a specific vendor, does the vendor receive the status or recommended vendor for future RFOs? Does that allow the vendor access to more RFOs ongoing?
Awarded vendors are, and their contracts are placed on the DIR website for our customers to view. I'm sorry, can we go back to, I didn't see the second part of that question. You have, our customers have access to you. We do not give vendors preferred status, or it does not allow you any more access or less access, but you are placed on our website with your contract and contact information.
Thank you. Next question. TexRAMP standards same as FedRAMP standards?
We will provide a written answer to that and place it to the place it on the ESBD.
Next question is the vendor selection is considered based on pricing while the vendor conforms to all the regulatory requirements.
So vendors will be scored according to the evaluation criteria placed in the RFO. Usually that is a mixture of pricing and experience and marketing plan. But again, the official requirements will be placed in the RFO and posted to the ESBD.
Next question. Do you expect the vendor's product to be certified with data privacy regulations?
We will answer that one in written format and put it on the ESBD.
Next question. Do professional references for individuals when they are working for other large corporations count?
So references, your references that are submitted should be for your company and the work that your company has done.
Thank you. That's all the questions that we have at this time.
All right. Well, as always, we thank you guys for joining us for this webinar. And just a reminder that we answer questions live, but the answers aren't considered official until we post the written response on the ESBD. And if we have no further questions, I think we can end things. DIR will be posting this information, so please be monitoring the ESBD.